Welcome to Coronation Street. Well, for the residents of the street, 1989 was to be the year of Alan Bradley. Alan needed money to buy a shop, so he took out a mortgage on Rita's house in the name of Len Fairclough. And when Rita found out about it, he tried to kill her. On a happier note, Hilda Ogden has stayed on in the street for another 12 months after Kevin and Sally Webster were married, and then she went to keep house for Dr. Lowther. Ken Barlow, now the sole owner of the Weatherfield Recorder, has been publishing leaked council stories, but his mole has finally been unearthed. Wendy Crozier, the secretary. She has been fired from the council. Gail and Brian's stormy relationship ended tragically when he was stabbed to death outside a nightclub. And to everyone's astonishment, Derek and Mavis have succeeded in doing what they failed to do at their first attempt. They're married. Oh, and there have been dramatic changes at the Rovers too. Alec and Bet are also married, and Alec is now the licensee at the Rovers. And Ivy Tilsley's remarried. Her new husband is Don Brennan, a taxi driver. Mike Baldwin has sold his factory to property developer Morris Jones, but the first the staff knew about that was when they turned up for work to find they were locked out. Now, the demolition men are moving in. Mike Baldwin hadn't heard the last from his factory workers. Oh no, Emily had organised pickets when the developers moved on to the building site, and they won their redundancy money that Mike had tried to deny them. Martin has now moved into Gail's and is confined to bed with mumps, which he caught from Nicky, and Gail's nerves are at breaking point. But for poor tormented Rita, only one thing dominates her life: the trial of Alan Bradley. After Alan Bradley's release, he found a job on the building site and started to terrorise Rita. Well, she cracked under the pressure and disappeared. Back in the street, there are new residents, the MacDonald family, but owing to a slip-up, Alf and Audrey are homeless. Meanwhile, Bet has found Rita in Blackpool in a very disturbed state. Rita's problems are not over yet. While Bet tried to persuade her to return home, Rita has given her the slip. The death of Alan Bradley had a devastating effect on Jenny, who blamed Rita. And Alf and Audrey had to settle for life in the corner shop flat until they could find something better. But for Ken and Deirdre, trouble is looming, as Ken's relationship with Wendy Crozier has become more intense. And this is one Christmas Eve which Santa will never forget. Well, as 1990 dawned, the street looked vastly different to the Coronation Street of 30 years ago. New developments, new houses, new faces. But the dramas, the joys, the tragedy, and the laughter will carry on as long as life itself. With this video, you've been able to relive some of the major events that happened in Coronation Street during 1989. Why not enjoy more highlights from the programme's first 30 years by adding to your Coronation Street video collection? Take another nostalgic trip down the world's most famous street. Ta-ra for now.